the fact that the Michael Jordan of the WNBA was assaulted, has a black eye during the second half of the game because Dejanay Carrington stabbed her with her fingernails in the eye. Dejanay has a history with Caitlin Clark, like many of these girls in the WNBA, but she's at the top of the list along with Kennedy Carter in Chicago and Angel Reese. That's not a natural act of you contest a shot and then all of a sudden your hand turns downwards and straight into the eye of the biggest star in the WNBA.
Imagine being the best rookie the WNBA has ever seen, then deciding to leave after just one season. That's exactly what Caitlin Clark is doing. But why? Was it the physical play, the officiating, or is there something else going on behind the scenes? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Let's talk about Clark's insane rookie season. She dropped 769 points and dished out 337 assists, breaking the WNBA record. That's crazy! And get this, the Fever's attendance shot up 400%, averaging 15,000 fans per game. Clark wasn't just playing basketball, she was putting on a show. But here's where things get wild. Just when everyone thought Clark was going to dominate the league for years, she hit us with a bombshell, an announcement that left fans and the WNBA stunned. You won't believe what's coming next. Hold up. Before we get to Clark's big decision, we need to talk about what went down in the playoffs. Picture this. A rookie phenom steps onto the court, ready to dominate. But instead of a basketball game, she finds herself in what feels like an all-out brawl. How did things get so heated? Let me paint you a picture of Clark's playoff debut. It was intense, physical, and nothing like the regular season. Imagine trying to shoot hoops while everyone's playing full-contact football. That's basically what Clark was dealing with. You know what's wild? There was this moment when Dejanay Carrington straight up poked Clark in the eye. I'm not kidding. It was like something out of an MMA fight, not a basketball game. And that wasn't even the worst of it. Clark was getting pushed, shoved, and bumped all game long. It got so bad that she couldn't hold back anymore. She said, and I quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." Can you imagine how frustrated she must have been?
And so I just assumed that all the social justice, racial justice warrior people would be up in arms and be like, hey, we got to call balls and strikes here. Caitlin Clark has made this league relevant, and this deranged bigot, and I say that in all sincerity.
But here's the thing. Despite all that rough play, Clark was still balling out. She dropped 29 points, dished out 10 assists, and grabbed 7 rebounds. That's insane for a rookie in her first playoff game. She was out there for all 40 minutes too. Only a handful of rookies in WNBA history have ever done that. You'd think with Clark playing like that, the Fever would cruise to victory, right? Wrong. Her teammates were making mistakes left and right. It was like they forgot how to play basketball at the worst possible moment. The game was super close. With just over 2 minutes left, the Fever were actually in the lead. But then everything fell apart. They ended up losing 87-81 to the Connecticut Sun. Talk about a heartbreaker. You should have seen Clark's face when that final buzzer sounded. She looked absolutely crushed. All that hard work, all those records she broke during the season, and it all came down to this one game. And just like that, it was over. But here's where things get really interesting. You might think Clark would come out of this fired up, ready to dominate next season, use that playoff loss as motivation. But that's not what happened at all. Instead, Clark did something that nobody saw coming. Something that's got the whole WNBA world talking. And trust me, you're going to want to hear this. Now, imagine you're the face of a league, breaking records left and right. What would make you want to leave all that behind? That's exactly the question everyone's asking after Caitlin Clark dropped a bombshell that's shaking up the WNBA. Just when we thought Clark was gearing up for an even bigger sophomore season, She threw a curveball that nobody saw coming. After the Fever's playoff exit, Clark announced she's taking a reset year to play in Europe. Yeah, you heard that right. The rookie sensation who was lighting up arenas across America is packing her bags and heading overseas. But why? What could push the league's new face to make such a drastic move? Well, it turns out there's more to this story than meets the eye. Remember how physical things got in the playoffs? That wasn't just a one-time thing. Clark opened up about the toll the season took on her, saying, "I need to get away from all of this." Can you imagine how exhausted she must be, both mentally and physically? And it's not just about the physical play. Clark didn't hold back when it came to the officiating either. She felt like she was getting hammered by opponents, and the league wasn't doing enough to protect her. That's gotta be frustrating for a young player trying to make her mark. But here's where things get really interesting. Clark's decision isn't just about her. It's sending shockwaves through the entire WNBA. Think about it. This is the player who boosted attendance by 400% for the Fever. She was breaking records left and right, bringing in fans and making headlines. And now, just like that, she's gone. For the Fever and the WNBA, this is like a financial and PR earthquake. Imagine all those ticket sales, all that media attention vanishing overnight. It's a huge blow, and it's got everyone scrambling to figure out what comes next.
DeJounte Carrington stabbing Caitlin Clark in the eye, intentionally, in my view, with her fingernail. Surely the corporate media that cares so much about racial equity and racial justice is going to be all over this.
Now, not everyone sees this the same way. Some people are saying Clark's making a smart move. They think taking a step back, resetting, and experiencing European basketball could be great for her career. It's a chance to grow, learn new skills, and come back stronger than ever. But others? They're not so sure. They're worried this could be a risky gamble. What if Clark loses her momentum? What if she struggles to readjust when she comes back? There's a lot of what-ifs flying around right now. And here's something else to think about. What if other young stars start following Clark's lead? If they're facing the same challenges, the physical play, the officiating issues, could we see more players taking a break from the WNBA? That's gotta be keeping league officials up at night. This whole situation is shining a spotlight on some bigger issues in the WNBA. The physicality of the game, the way star players are or aren't protected, the toll a season takes on young athletes. These are all things the league might need to address if they want to keep their top talent happy and healthy. But what does this mean for Clark's future and the future of the WNBA? That's the million-dollar question right now. Will this reset year help Clark come back stronger than ever? Or could it be the beginning of a trend that changes women's basketball as we know it? You think Caitlin's decision only affects her? Think again. This could change the entire landscape of women's basketball. Clark's move to Europe isn't just about one player taking a break, it's sending shockwaves through the entire WNBA. And the impact, it's bigger than you might imagine. Let's talk numbers for a second. During her rookie season, Clark wasn't just playing basketball, she was filling arenas. We're talking about an average of 17,000 fans per game. That's not just good, that's insane. The Fever saw their attendance skyrocket by 400%. And it wasn't just in-person fans. Clark's games were pulling in over 1.8 million viewers. That's more than some of the league's biggest stars. But here's where it gets really wild. Clark's jersey? It became the top seller in WNBA history. And we're not talking about just beating out other rookies. She outsold legends like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. That's crazy. All of this added up to over $5 million in ticket revenue during the regular season alone. Now, imagine all of that gone. Poof, just like that. That's the reality the WNBA is facing with Clark's decision to play in Europe. It's like losing your star player and your best marketing tool all at once. The league is scrambling to figure out how to maintain its newfound popularity and financial stability without its golden goose. But here's the thing, Clark's move isn't just about money, it's shining a spotlight on some serious issues in the WNBA. Remember how physical things got in the playoffs? How Clark felt like she was getting hammered by opponents? That's not just a Clark problem, it's a league problem. And now, with their star player walking away, the WNBA might finally be forced to address these issues head on. You know what's even crazier? Clark's decision could start a trend. Think about it. If other young stars are facing the same challenges, the physicality, the officiating issues, they might start looking at Europe as an option too. That's gotta be keeping WNBA officials up at night. The reaction from fans and fellow players has been intense. People are disappointed, worried, and even a little angry. They see Clark as this transformative figure in women's basketball. And now she's walking away. It's like watching your favorite TV show get canceled right when it was getting good. But not everyone thinks this is a disaster. Some people are saying Clark's making a smart move. They think taking a step back, experiencing European basketball could be great for her career. It's a chance to grow, learn new skills, and come back stronger than ever. But others? They're not so sure. They're worried this could be a risky gamble. What if Clark loses her momentum? What if she struggles to readjust when she comes back? Here's the big question on everyone's mind. What does this mean for the future of the WNBA? Will Clark's move force the league to make some much-needed changes? Will we see improvements in how star players are protected on the court? Could this lead to better officiating standards? One thing's for sure, the WNBA can't afford to sit back and do nothing. They need to address these issues if they want to keep their top talent happy and healthy. And who knows, maybe Clark's decision will be the push they need to make some real changes. Caitlin Clark's journey from college superstar to WNBA sensation has been nothing short of incredible. But her move to Europe? That's a whole new ballgame. Think about it. She's already broken records, boosted attendance, and become the face of the league. And now she's taking her talents overseas. What's next for Clark? Will she come back even stronger with new skills and experience under her belt? Or will this be a setback for her career? It's anyone's guess, but one thing's for sure, Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's changing the game. You know what's really exciting? Clark herself said, "I know there's a lot of room for me to continue to improve." That's huge. She's already a superstar, and she thinks she can get even better. Clark's not just shaping her own future, she's reshaping women's basketball as we know it, both in the US and around the world.